To assemble your CF016 or CF042 cell, you will need an 11/16 wrench, a 5/8 wrench, and a 9/16 wrench. To begin the cell assembly, install the fittings into the cell top and bottom, starting with the cell top and the permeate fitting. Take the permeate fitting and wrap the threads with 1 to 2 wraps of PTFE tape. Hand thread the fitting into the permeate port. Once hand tight, give it an additional half turn using a 5/8 wrench and then set this cell top aside. Now for the cell bottom, start by disassembling the tube fitting assembly by removing this portion of the fitting. Apply a few wraps of PTFE tape to the threads, and then thread this into each port by hand. Once it's hand tight, finish tightening this with a full turn using a 9/16 wrench. Repeat this for the other fittings. Remember, when installing these fittings on a stainless steel cell, it's a good idea to add a bit of anti-seize lubricant to ensure the fittings don't seize when trying to remove them. From here, we'll add the O-rings into the O-ring grooves, starting with the inner O-ring. Simply place the O-ring in the groove. Begin to press the O-ring into the groove, making sure not to stretch the O-ring. Do the same thing for the outer O-ring. Lay it in the groove and press it in, making sure not to stretch the O-ring. Just like that. From here, we can place the CF cell bottom into the clamping plate assembly. At this point, we can reconnect the lower part of the tube fitting. Press the fitting in by hand and thread the nut on by hand and tighten it until it's hand tight. Once hand tight, use an 11/16 wrench and a 5/8 wrench to hold the lower portion of the fitting in place, and use the 11/16 wrench to give the nut an extra 1/4 inch to quarter turn. We can now assemble the internals of our cell here. Start by inserting a shim and a spacer whose combined thickness fills the 90 mm pocket depth here on the CF cell. The shim and spacer are also sized appropriately to help target the crossflow velocity and turbulence that we are looking for in this experiment. From here, insert the membrane with the active side facing down. It can help to pre-wet your membrane before installing it on your cell. Then, we can place the cell top over the membrane, followed by the top clamping plate. When using an FO cell top, be sure to install the shim and spacer into the pocket on the cell top, if desired. Then, carefully place your cell top onto your cell assembly, followed by your top clamping plate. Install the 4 fast lock knobs onto each stud. Tighten them in a crossing pattern incrementally until they are hand tight.